Hello everyone, welcome to this webinar today. I'm Peter Towers, Managing Director of ESS BIZTOOLS. If you have any questions, please type your question in so that I can look at it in chat, or you could send me an email later on if you wish, peter@essbiztools.com.au, or you could give us a telephone call, 0772 118. Thank you. So we'll just we are doing a live feed, so welcome to people watching us on LinkedIn, X, Facebook, and YouTube. I hope you enjoy this experience of joining us for this overview of the ESS BIZTOOLS starter package. It's designed for accountancy and bookkeeping firms all over Australia and New Zealand who are contemplating offering some additional services beyond the traditional bookkeeping, preparation of a set of financial accounts, payment of accounts, perhaps looking after the debtors' invoices, payroll, things like that. We're going to be talking about some additional advisory services that you could offer. And for accounting firms, this is some additional work beyond the preparation of the annual accounts for a client and the income tax return. So it applies to SMEs, charities, not-for-profits and sporting organisations. All of these organisations require sound, solid accounting data and information. So why offer advisory services? I think the most obvious answer is to improve your client's business operations. You know, largest businesses and most definitely large companies, public companies, all employ a lot of accountants and bookkeepers in their various functions. They get that information. And what they're able to achieve is information in real time. And that's what I want to talk to you today about. Being able to supply information to your clients in real time. Not just at the end of the financial year. It's too late then to make any modifications. And in today's climate, in Australia and probably everywhere around the world, there's a lot of struggling going on in small businesses and even larger businesses. So helping your clients survive the high inflation rate, the high interest rates, and the uncertainty is very important. But you need to be able to communicate to your clients that you're offering these services. There are some of your clients, of course, who, despite all the obstacles, will be wanting to grow their businesses and scale up. And you can also help them, so you become their partner in their journey. Their innovative journey can be very interesting and exciting. And both of these activities supply interesting and challenging work for your accounting team members. So the starter package complements the advisory intro package. The advisory intro package is the first package we have, and we go up in steps. So everything that's included in the advisory intro package is then included in the starter package, and obviously we've got more. Then we go from the starter package to the advanced package, which includes more. Then we go to the financial forecasting package, which includes more information from ESS BIZTOOLS, but then it includes software from Plan Guru to assist in the preparation of predictive accounting reports, budgets, cash flow forecasts, key drivers, and predictive and projected balance sheets. And training in how to use Plan Guru, presented by Paul Barnaby, a fellow of the Institute of Chartered Accountants, who's a walking encyclopedia on everything to do with predictive accounting. So that's the brief overview, but just so you understand, we're going up in steps. So we're looking today at the starter package. This is step number 2. And this will give accounting or bookkeeping firms a comprehensive range of services to launch advisory services to your clients. And then you'll have to decide how far you want to go with advisory services. You can upgrade your subscription to ESS BIZTOOLS at any time. What we're trying to do, though, is to give you access to resources that you can at least have a conversation with a client about research and development, about some of the government grants, export market development grant, about where a small business could access some funding from, either as loan funds, of course, but as capital being raised from the public. We have capital raising opportunities that are now firmly established for SME companies in Australia. Now, they have to be companies to raise capital, but that's okay. You'll be able to communicate with your clients, give them some handouts. That's very important. You know, this is something you can read about, how you can utilise Section 708 of the Corporations Act to raise capital. And all of the material that we've got in our system will help you have team training sessions with your team. And we have monthly training arrangements in place, or 10 months of the year, probably a better way to put it, 10 sessions per annum for each of our product packages. And if you wish, you can attend another product packages training sessions. As long as you're a subscriber to ESS BIZTOOLS, you can go to any of the training sessions. And that's to allow you to have a glimpse of what the additional information might be in one of the other training packages. And so you might say, well, geez, we should have the complete research and development package, or we should have the complete early stage innovation company capital raising package, or whatever. It's all very important if you're going to be servicing your clients. It will equip your client, your talent, your team, which everyone tells me is very hard to attract and then retain these days. There's not enough accountants, and there's definitely not enough that understand the commercial world. And that's what we are trying to give to you through ESS BIZTOOLS. My background is I've been an accountant for many years as a fellow of the CPAs, fellow of the Institute of Chartered Accountants, member of the Institute of Management Consultants. I was a senior partner of an accounting firm with about 40 staff. And I was the Chief Financial Officer, Company Secretary of a listed public company, employing 13 accountants in various locations around Australia. So I've seen the commercial world operate as an accountant, and then as a senior partner in an accounting firm. And in the middle of that, first of all, an area accountant in a public company arrangement, and then I was promoted to be the Chief Financial Officer and Company Secretary of that public company. That was great experience. Unfortunately, not every accountant can have that experience, and I'm trying to share with you my experience, my observations, some of my mistakes, to try to help you to be able to deliver advisory services to your clients. Because it doesn't really matter, I don't think, having worked in a wide breadth of organisations, whether you're advising a very small SME startup, as I was yesterday afternoon, or advising the CEO of a fairly large public company. They're both seeking advice on a commercial nature, on a business nature. Now, I got no doubt if that my CEO in the public company that I was with could have gone up and done some of the things that I did. He couldn't have done them all. He wasn't an accountant. But he had his confidence in me that I could do my role. So I would present him with the reports, present him with the advice. Isn't that your role as an accountant advising SMEs? Because the client I had yesterday afternoon at this stage hasn't started the business. He's got this fantastic innovation project in mind that's going to cost him a lot of money. So we're going through planning the development. He's put together a research and development advisory team. Some people who are assisting him and know a fair bit about the industry, know a lot about the industry actually, that this invention is going to work in. So we're talking about, well, how are you going to compensate these people? Is it shares in the company? I need to make sure that he thinks about this. And we've planned the journey. Now that's taken a whiteboard, a very good eraser, and plenty of writing on the whiteboard and rubbing out and changing things to try to develop a strategy of where this business is going and how we're going to do the various processes that are needed. And in the team, we have some people in the industry that understand that industry. We have a consulting engineer who understands the industry. And we have a patent attorney who's very well trained and experienced to be able to assist in looking at some items of the components of the product that my client's developing, which might be able to be patented by, first of all, obtaining a provisional patent, and then looking at the worldwide patenting situation. Now, that's a small business, but that same thing happens in big businesses. How would you handle that assignment? Within the material, within ESS BIZTOOLS, especially in the advanced package, we have material which will give you an insight as to how you might handle those challenges. Please think about it. That's what we're here for, to help you develop strategies without you having to spend a lot of time. And this whole journey starts with the 52-week of the year business enhancement system. One thing I learned in a public company is that every day counts. Every day counts. Something happens every day. I thought I had some more notes there, but I haven't, so I'm just going to go back to where I was. Every day counts. We look at daily reports. The daily report might have been the number of customers today, the total sales, the average sale. How did that compare to yesterday? How did it compare to the same day last week? How did it compare to our budget estimate? There's a whole stack of information. If you're running a boning room, or you might have had your yields, you know, what yield did you achieve? How much saleable product did you obtain from the original products that you purchased? And yields can be important in a wide range of businesses. It's daily information that someone can look at and say, oh, there seems to be a problem there. Why did our average daily sale drop from $21 back to $14? What did we do wrong yesterday? Or did our numbers suffer? Did a certain group of customers that normally turn up on a Wednesday not attend? You need to be feeding information back to the management people so they can start thinking. I found over the years that unless managers get information, unless they get data, they're not that effective. But you give them the data, they can start working their tricks. They're using their knowledge of how the business operates to very quickly pinpoint the problem. What caused that to happen? Because if there is a problem, it's then fixed for the next day. How do your clients handle that? Have you set up a system that will generate that sort of feedback to your clients? And then we look at weekly, and I'm going to come back to that in a moment. I think all this will help you generate more income for your accounting firm, challenging and interesting work for your team, and also for you if you're a partner or a senior manager. But it's a bit of a break from tax returns. And let's face it, tax returns become a little bit boring after a while. Mix it up. Give them some variety in their work. And make them use their brain, make them use the information they learned at university. I've already given you an overview of the intro packages, so we're not going there. The starter package, we're not going there, we're talking about it. The advanced package, I mentioned before, it covers everything we've got in the starter package, plus corporate governance, capital raising, chief financial officer services, research and development services. Everything is the full package when we come to advance, except the final installments of company directors and board of directors operations and board of advice. So please think about it. And then we've got the financial forecasting package, which includes all of the ESS BIZTOOLS information, plus the final series of information on board of directors and board of advice and chief financial officers. Everything else is already included in the advanced package. But you also then get access to the Plan Guru budgeting software package, which I referred to earlier. And you can attend one of the packages to hear one of our webinar presentation packages to hear more about what's in the advisory forecasting package. So preparation for advisory delivery. There's a training package included. It's also available in the advisory intro. It's a 13 installments because I think you have to take all of your team, including the partners, through a rebrief, if you like, to make sure people get their minds in gear. What are we here for? Well, preparing the tax returns part of the issue. I think along the lines in the main that that's the end result to get the tax return finalised. But in the meantime, we need to make sure the client's going to survive. And the client needs to know everything that happens in their business, daily, weekly, monthly, daily, weekly, monthly. That's the process. So we have the training package to help. We have SME needs analysis, which will give you a series of points that you could discuss with a client. Because unfortunately, many of your clients think that all that accountants are interested in is tax. Now, we know that's not true, but that's what a lot of people think. Yet a lot of SMEs want someone to help them. They want someone with some commercial knowledge to help them. Now, not everyone can have the experience that I just related you to. Chief Financial Officer, Company Secretary of a listed public company. I'm trying to introduce you to the skills that I learned from there by this presentation so that you can then utilize the material that I've written that's available within ESS BIZTOOLS for you to offer commercial support services to your clients. That's real advisory services work. In the library, we have 340 articles and about 50 different classifications written that you can badge and send to your clients. Now, the real benefit of them is you've sat down and talked to a client about a certain aspect. It might be they're looking to raise some funds for their business. And you could indicate to them that there are capital raising opportunities and give them some articles which illustrate to them how all this works. There's a lot of people around Australia in the last 6 years raised capital from the public. About $350 million has been raised from, in the main, mum and dad investors. I think they account for about 74% of the investors. So people will invest. But to raise that capital, your client's going to need a vision, an understanding of where their business is going. That's where you come in, helping them. And our articles, in our library, will help you have those conversations with your client. And they need it all documented. They need a business plan. They need the predictive accounting reports, budgets, cash flow forecasts, and analysis of the key drivers and the projected balance sheet. We also help you with a monthly newsletter service. Every one of our subscribers gets this, irrespective of what level of contributions they're making. And that is uploaded on the second Friday of each month, tomorrow. And you can then follow up with clients. You badge it with your name. You send it out to your clients. But before you send it out, I suggest that you read the 4 pages. That's all there is. And there'll be about 6 different articles in that. And you think about which client might be interested, and we try to segregate the articles. Something there for someone thinking about going into business. Something there for someone that started in the last year or so. Something there for someone that's thinking of selling their business. Or perhaps they need funding for their business. They're interested in some of this capital raising. Or perhaps they're interested in succession planning. In our system, we have a client profile form, which will help you to identify some of the other services that you could talk to your client about. Client profile form for advisory services will help you identify that the client might be doing some research and development, so you can talk to them about research and development. And make sure they realise they have to be a company if they're going to claim the research and development tax rebate. And they have to spend $20,000 on a legitimate research and development activities, plural, in the financial year. We also have client mentoring and coaching. At this level, you get access to 4 modules. And this gives you some material you can send to your clients. And client seminars. Seminars are a great way to communicate to your client base that you know something about these subjects that I'm referring to. You know things about matters beyond taxation, which might surprise some of your clients. They know you're the expert on taxation, but you might give them a seminar that includes debtors management so they get an appreciation that you understand the problems and frustrations of debtors. We all need them. So where does all this start? It starts with understanding your client, I think, from an advisory viewpoint rather than just a compliance taxation viewpoint or a bookkeeping viewpoint, that what you're doing is processing the payments and the income, perhaps preparing the debtor statements, sending them out. Do you calculate the debtor's days outstanding and talk to your client about the impacts, especially if the debtor's days outstanding has gone up each month for the last 6 months? That means there's potentially cash flow difficulties in the business. It means digging into the accounts a bit more. There's proposals and quotation forms, and there's some business planning material. It's important that there's budgets for all operations. Now, what we have here is information to help you at least start the budgeting process. You don't have access to the Plan Guru software unless you specifically subscribe to the Plan Guru software, which we can organise for you. And you will get the advantage of the special deal we've done with Plan Guru. And that is that you can utilise their software for up to 10 clients at any one time. Normally their system only allows you to have 3 active clients at any one time. And after that, you pay an extra contribution, extra subscription each month for each additional client you have on the system. In the same way, you can go above 10 also if you wish, but you will then have to be paying an extra subscription each month. We'll look at the key drivers and what they mean. They're very important, but a lot of people, when they talk about budgets and cash flows, never talk about key drivers. This is the sub-accounts, debtors. And this is where debtors' days outstanding comes into play. I think it's a little bit silly if the annual financial accounts indicated that debtors' days outstanding were sitting at 41 days. And yet when we look at the financial forecasts that have been prepared, suddenly they're being reduced to 30 days. It's very difficult to reduce debtors' days by 11 days, especially in a month. So you need to analyse it. And this is where the the key driver sub-accounts help you do that. Could be the same with inventory. Has there been a build-up of inventory from around mid-October onwards for a business that's got big Christmas sales? I've seen financial forecasts that accountants have prepared for major jewellery store operations, and jewellers sell about 70% of their annual sales in December, January. January is more the clearance sales made after Christmas. So where's the build-up in stock? And have arrangements been made for how that's going to be paid? Now, I know some jewellers get deals done with suppliers, mainly overseas suppliers. They don't have to pay them until around Easter the following year, but those arrangements need to be made and made well in advance. And your clients need to be getting your commercial input onto these sort of matters when they plan what they're going to do. They might not have known that. They might not have thought about that. They might be new into business and haven't thought of the necessity to build up their stock for Christmas trade. The cash flow forecasts. Cash flow forecasts are getting information from the day-to-day trading, of course, and the expenses, but also from the key driver sub-accounts. And that's where the effect of a blowout in debtors' days outstanding is going to be shown. It's going to be shown in the cash flow forecast, isn't it? And there may be some input coming from the projected balance sheets. And also then on the projected balance sheets, it allows you to be a storyteller for your client, to sit down and talk to them about what this business is going to look like in the future. So I started earlier talking about the 52-week business enhancement system, and I've talked to you about the daily reports, so we'll then move on to the weekly performance. I think this is vital. My experience in a public company was that everything had to be accounted for weekly. We had to prepare weekly performance reports for over 400 business units scattered over 3 eastern states of Australia. Some were quite big operations. We were in the meat industry. Large meat works, generating a lot of revenue, employing a lot of people, and then retail butcher shops, small goods factories, cold stores, byproducts, hide stores, all sorts of businesses. Yet every one of them had to have a weekly profitability and performance report prepared that was available for discussion with the local person in charge of that, who was the manager of that particular butcher shop, with the area manager who was in charge of what was happening in that area. By Tuesday morning, Tuesday afternoon, sometimes Monday afternoon, those various businesses. This is the way the big end of town run their businesses. Yet we ignore a lot of that when we're advising small businesses. Yet the big end of towns really cut their businesses back into a series of small businesses and put an area manager and an accountant in there to ensure that this information is prepared. That's one of the real challenges for you as an accountant or a bookkeeper, to try to make sure your client gets a weekly performance and profitability report. And some people say to me, why, Peter? Why are you doing that? Well, why is so that there can be immediate reaction. Immediate reaction. So if the report gets prepared and shows that that store traded at a $2,000 loss for this week, the week ending 2 days ago, and the expectation was it should have made a profit of $2,500, there should be an inquiry very quickly. Now, the problem is if you're only preparing accounts virtually on an annual basis or ad hoc throughout the year, the client loses that, doesn't know that's really occurred. There could have been a theft that occurred last week. There could have been that someone's misweighed product. Someone's put the wrong selling price on the products. So the inquiry would be saying, we've got to fix this today. So we're now through to Tuesday afternoon or Wednesday morning. It's got to be fixed because we're still trading. Are we repeating the same problems today as what happened last week? Now, that's the benefit you're giving your clients. of giving them the tools for the managers, not for you. You've prepared the reports. This is the result. There's obviously a problem. Gross profit percentage dropped, which is a great indicator that all the sales haven't been accounted for. So that might be the issue. Very quickly check the invoices. Did someone forget to invoice a big sale? And I've had that. There needs to be an inquiry as to how that happened, of course. But you can fix the problem. And if something a little bit shonky is happening somewhere in the organisation, they soon get the message that if there's a problem, it gets picked up quick, either daily because the daily average has dropped, or within a couple of days at the end of a week. A lot of action's being generated. The client might be there, and in the public company's case, the area manager's there, wanting to know what happened, going through the systems. That's the role you can play, I think. And then at the end of the month, you've got the monthly financial accounts for each individual business unit, not consolidated into one. You lose all ability to analyse the results. And it's all thrown into one P&L account. Break it down right from the start. Your budget should be broken down for each business unit. It can be done. These days, we've got computers. I used to do those on handwritten spreadsheets at one stage, years ago. Comparison of the monthly accounts to the budget is also very important because that will show up some variances that should immediately be investigated. That's why you're doing monthly accounts. Don't hide the problems. Get into them and sort them out. That's what companies do. How do you think the big companies come out and announce their end-of-year financial results 3 or 4 weeks after the end of the financial year? Yet thousands of small businesses couldn't do that. That's because the systems have been in place and variances have been investigated regularly each week or each month and fixed up. So by the end of the year, whatever the financial year ends, it's all been sorted out. There's no need for major reviews to then be undertaken. And one of the other key analysis then is on the balance sheet. What's the variations? How does it compare to what the budget said? What's the key performance indicators telling us for things like debtors' days outstanding, creditors' days outstanding? Are the key creditors being paid as per their arrangements? Or is your client potentially going to have major embarrassment because their key supplier cuts supply because the key supplier was insisting on being paid exactly on 30 days and it's blown out to 45 days and suddenly they just stop supplying? What's that do to your client's business then? Now, this is the key role, as I see it, in being an advisor. You have to put yourself into this business and be an active participant, not a bystander. Definitely not a bystander. If you don't want to be actively involved, forget about offering advisory services. Please, just concentrate on the tax returns or concentrate on the bookkeeping if you're a bookkeeper. Because what we're looking for here is accountants and bookkeepers who are keen to be active, keen to be offering real accounting services to your SME clients, to help your SME clients survive and scale up their businesses and succeed. That's the 3 S's that you should be helping them achieve. And you won't help them if you're not prepared to get in and understand the business, to roll up your sleeves, to check. One very experienced motel operator showed me once what he used to do every time he went to any of his premises, and he had about 10 of them. He would go to the garbage bin and roll up his sleeves or take off his shirt if he had a long sleeve shirt on and start digging into the garbage bin and pulling things out. And you'd be amazed what he pulled out at times. He'd pull out frozen chickens and frozen ducks and hams that obviously had been put in there to be retrieved by dishonest employees. And when he was doing that, I said, what gave you the inclination? He said, because I've looked at last week's results and the gross profit percentage has dropped. So obviously products disappearing. It's not being sold. We've checked this. The sales system works. Everything that's sold gets processed. So one of the other areas then is there could be theft, pilferage going on. And people have to plan when they're going to do that. So he'd worked out over experience that people would put things wrapped up in the garbage. It hadn't been opened from its cryback packing, of course. But it was going to be either taken home or sold on the black market or something. But his indication that there was a problem because he'd been given information that the gross profit percentage last week, which was expected to be 34%, was only 21%. It's a dead giveaway. But unless you're doing those calculations, week in, week out, people don't know and don't react. You can act also as the CEO to help funding requirements, identification of government grants. You can help on the charge out rates determination. We have a charge out rate calculator for professional service firms, for tradies, very important. And a product which will assist in retailers and wholesalers to determine a product mix and markup. And manufacturers' charge out rates. One of the big government grants is research and development. For a client with a turnover under $20 million, undertaking research and development, as I said before, the client has to be a company to claim the research and development rebate. They receive 43% of their legitimate research and development expenditure as a rebate. Now, if they happen to be trading at a loss, which a lot of them are, they can apply for that cash value of the rebate. So if they've spent $100,000 on research and development, the $43,000 will be refunded by the tax office within 30 days of the company lodging its tax return. Now, that can be a great benefit to a lot of small companies. They get $43,000 back in because they're undertaking research and development projects. You will have access to material within this starter package, which gives you information to have that sort of conversation with your clients, to let your clients know that you know how it all works. Now, it's up to you whether you want to continue to supply advice to your client on research and development. And if so, we can help you because we have a complete product package that starts at the very beginning, which is the idea that you've got, but then continues on to the lodgement of the research and development annual report, which goes to Oz Industry, which has to be lodged by the 30th of September. Sorry, wrong date. 30th of April. I was thinking ahead of something else in September. 30th of April, which is not many days away, is it? If you happen to have any clients that undertook research and development in the 12 months ended 30th of June 2023. You might be able to help clients with the Export Market Development Grant. You don't have to be a company to claim that grant. You can be anything, a sole trader, a partnership, a trust, or a company. Are you aware of your clients that are exporting? Do you know they could claim up to $770,000 over 3 separate years? Do not have to be consecutive on research and development. This is where we're going to give you the tools to be immediately able to communicate with your clients, for you to be able to give them an article they can read, that they'll return to you and accept that you understand more than just the taxation or pure bookkeeping side of things. The Industry Growth Program is a great new grant that's been introduced to replace the Accelerating Commercialisation Grant. There's substantial grants available, up to $5 million. Now, your client's got to match it. So to get $5 million, you've got to have a very big project. we'll give you the information that you can at least communicate with your clients about that particular grant. You can help them in capital raising. Now, years ago, 40 odd years ago, actually, Section 708 was introduced by Paul Keating. I saw some publicity about him recently. He's a man that always bobs up with interesting comments. You don't have to agree with them all, but he comes up with some interesting comments. Now, 708 was introduced to help small companies to be able to raise capital. It got changed about 5 years after that, so 35 years ago, by John Howard when he was the treasurer. And it stayed the same ever since. So a small company can raise up to $2 million from a maximum of 20 investors in 12 months. Now, there's restrictions on who the investors can be, and all that's set out in the article, which you could then talk to your client about. And you could go through the process with them, what they need, business plan, budgets, cash flow forecasts, evaluation of their company. And all that work you should be able to do in your firm. Or if you've got someone that's on an innovative journey, they've been undertaking research and development, they're only very small, they may have been admitted to the Accelerating Commercialisation Grant Program. They could be eligible for the status of an early stage innovation company, capital raise. And why is it so important? And why am I getting a little bit excited about it? Because there's a carrot there for investors. It is there to help those companies who are developing new innovative ideas, technology for Australia. There's a carrot to help them raise capital. The investor receives a 20% tax rebate off the amount of their investment, up to a maximum of $200,000 tax rebate for a sophisticated investor, and up to $10,000 for a retail investor. So they get that for making an investment. They invest $50,000 in the company and they get 10 grand off their tax bill. That's pretty good, isn't it? But then I think what could be the biggest carrot is that if they hold those shares that they've just acquired in your client's company for more than 12 months and less than 10 years, they pay no capital gains tax. None at all. Even if they've made a real hit, no capital gains tax. And if they still own the shares at the end of 10 years, the company is revalued to its current value, and they've got a new cost price on their shares, which they will then pay tax on them. Interesting. Crowdsource funding equity raising. Are you familiar with it? Now, $360 million has been raised by companies in Australia utilising crowdsource funding equity raising since it started about 6 years ago. And when we started, we were 6 or 7 years behind countries like New Zealand, Canada, United States, England, Singapore, that had already offered that service. It's a great opportunity. And it gets your client to get more organised. They've now got a board of directors that is operational, or it should be. They might have an auditor. If they raise more than $3 million, they must have an auditor. They can elect to have an auditor from day one. I think it's a good idea, actually. And they can raise up to $5 million if their turnover's under $25 million. They've got to have a vision. They've got to have a story. They've got to be able to articulate what they're trying to achieve. And they've got to work with people that are called crowdsource funding intermediaries. There's 4 or 5 very active firms that have got licenses from ASIC. There are another 12 that were appointed that don't seem to be doing much because they're not getting enough deal flow. And they claim they're not getting the deal flow because accountants are not proactively helping their clients to get into this process. Why? I suspect a lot of accountants really don't know anything about it, but it's there. It's a great way to help your clients raise money. And bookkeepers, you can help them in this by being the forward scouts, by being observant that your client has got a good business. They've got a lot of debtors. They've got a lot of stock. They've committed a lot of money in research and development or capital expenditure. So their cash flow is a bit weak. Well, you could raise the issue with them. You know you can raise capital. It's not illegal. And there are legal processes to do it. There are 3 opportunities. In fact, there's a 4th one. You can go down the venture capital path, but I think you need to be more experienced than just going down to raise venture capital in your first capital raising activity. So why don't you give it a go? Why don't you think about how you can help your clients? I've used my experience and my knowledge and my team's knowledge to develop all of this material to help bookkeepers and accountants to be able to offer advisory services. Quite frankly, I'm getting sick of reading articles that accountants and bookkeepers want to offer advisory services, yet not many really take it up. They talk about it. Well, I think we're getting past the talk stage. It's time for action. The tax commissioner made a very pronounced warning 18 months ago. He said within 3 years, things are really going to change. I think he might have said 3 to 5 years. I'm not really worried if that blows out to 4 to 6 or 7 years. Changes are coming. We all know that because the technology is changing. The tax office modus operandi has changed already. And some cynics say, oh, well, they'll never get it right. Well, I've been around this game for a long time, and there's been a lot of changes in taxation. And I know a lot of them didn't come in on the date that the commissioner might have said at the time, but ultimately they do. So be warned, there are changes coming. There is going to be more competitive forces. There's going to be more discontent with team members unless you are giving them interesting and challenging work. And some of these functions that we have covered in this package will assist you to start that process. It's not the end of it. You really need to be in our advanced package or our financial forecasting package to do the full job. In our system, we got a whole system on buying a business or selling a business. Very important to do it properly. And working capital. Debtors is one of the curses of SMEs and big businesses also. But you can do a lot to check on how a client operates. Have they got a systems manual for debtors? Do they understand the necessity to create client agreements in the first place so that they understand who they're dealing with? Do they stamp the date that the invoice needs to be paid? If they're offering 30 days, put the 30-day, this is the date that this invoice must be paid, stamp on the invoice. They're still producing debtor statements, which thousands of small businesses are doing. Make sure they're finalised and distributed by email, not by mail, email, 24 hours after the end of the month, so that you've got a chance of being paid. If your client's dealing with mining companies and other big corporate entities who have specified that the whole invoicing process for them must be concluded by the 8th day of a month or the 9th day of a month or whatever it is, make sure your client's got the systems in place to comply. Because if they're a day late, they wait another 30 odd days to be processed. They will not change their systems. Yet some people dealing with major mining companies that I know of, that I've spoken to at various conferences that I've spoken at, get paid very regularly about 30 days. Gets other people working alongside them, in fact, sitting alongside them in conferences that I've presented at, will tell you, oh no, we're getting 70, 80-day payments. And you sit down and talk to them over a cup of coffee and find, oh, we didn't know we had to lodge everything by the 8th day. That's one of your problems. The second one then is, how many queries do you get back? Oh yeah, they wanted a weighbridge certificate, or they wanted some sort of other certificate signed by someone. Well, why wasn't it sent to them in the first place? Because unless your system complies with the supplier's request, well, you're not going to get paid. It's worth thinking about, isn't it? Corporate governance. We introduced directors' duties into this package, and this also applies to committee members of charities, not-for-profits and sporting organisations. Banks, we've got some material on relationship with banks, keeping them informed, and ASIC on various requirements. We also look at a business valuation workshop. We've got a whole package called Survival in Difficult Times. In Australia, there always seems to be difficult times, a lot of them caused by climate, but it could be a major business shutdown. And how well do you know your client? Interesting series for accountants and bookkeepers. We also have business health checks, we call them, which is KPIs and a mixture of business metrics that you could maintain for your clients. Now, if you're interested in joining us with the starter package, we've got a special offer for you, available to the 7th of May. Your upfront 12-month subscription is $1,800 plus GST, 1980. One of my clients was here the other day, in fact, the one I was referring to before, and he was looking at these slides, and he says, "Is that all it costs? That's all you charge accountants to have access to all your knowledge and systems?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Geez, you must have a lot of subscribers." Well, we have subscribers, but we could always do with some more if we're going to continue to offer this service. Or you could pay by 12 monthly payments if you wanted, $198 a month, including GST. And you get everything we've been talking about. If you want to go to our advanced package, you can. The upfront payment is $5,940. It's a fantastic range of services for you to really offer advisory services. Or you could pay us monthly $594 a month, including GST. And if you're interested in the financial forecasting package, which is the fourth step in our four-step package, your upfront subscription is $10,560, including GST. We have bookkeeping firms paying that. They're offering, under a bookkeeping business presentation, they're doing a lot of budget and cash flow work. Or you could make 12 payments of $1,056. And if you are interested in going back to the very beginning, the first step in our program, the advisory intro package only costs you $990, including GST. $990. The return on investment on that should be staggering. You think about it. If you're fair income, in making your firm an advisory firm expert, or you could pay us every month $99, including GST. So the group training that you can undertake, we have 10 group training sessions a year for each of the product packages. So 40 group training. And if you want to, you can attend another group training. So if you're subscribing in the starter package and you want to have a look at the financial forecasting package, something in there, you can just turn up and go to that webinar. Or we will offer services on a one-on basis to your firm. You can have as many in the room as you like. We'll do it by Zoom. And the charge will be $330 per hour, including GST. So if you wish to subscribe, please go to www.essbiztools.com.au, click on packages and pricing, and then click on the product package, which you have selected. If you've got any further questions, forget that date. We have another session on this particular product package tomorrow, and you can join us there to discuss. So if you need more information, please send us a email, peter@essbiztools.com.au, or telephone me. I've changed the number, 0747241118. Thank you for being with us. I hope I've aroused some interest in the sort of services that a bookkeeping firm or accounting firm can make available to help your SME clients survive, thrive, grow, scale up. Recently there was an article in the Financial Review that was written by the CEO of MYOB. And he, I think, sent a message to accountants and bookkeepers. If you want a copy of the article, just send me an email and I'll send it to you. When he said his observation is that a lot of people start out with great promise, great ideas in a small business. And they think they've got enough money in the bank to start with. Some of them haven't got enough advice, he said, but no, they start. But after 6 months, it's like they suddenly run into a brick wall. And that brick wall is their lack of financial management knowledge. You can supply the financial management knowledge to those people. That gentleman indicated that a lot of these people had great ideas, great concepts, but didn't know where to go, didn't understand what happens in a business, that they're outlaying their cash initially to buy products, but they may have been put on very fast payment terms, 7 days, 14 days, 30 days. And if you don't pay, you don't get any more, which can really affect the business. So they're using their cash to pay the suppliers. But they're dealing with businesses. If they're dealing with consumers, that might be all right because they can get consumers to pay them with their credit cards, hopefully. Yeah. But if they're dealing with businesses, businesses want trading terms. So suddenly they find that, oh, they got debtors, but the debtors days outstanding's 60 days. They've spent money on establishing their businesses. They've maybe gone overboard. They bought a new car. They paid far too much money for a new car. They should have bought a second-hand car. It's costing around 30,000. They may have paid 70,000. They misused some of their money. They need advice. They need help. You can be that help. I would welcome you to contact me to become a member subscriber of ESS BIZTOOLS and any one of the 4 product packages that we've got. And if you want to have a discussion, please give me a ring. 0747241118. I'll repeat that because I don't think I said it the right way before. 0747241118. Or send me an email, peter@essbiztools.com.au. This is a challenging journey for you, and it's a challenging journey for your clients. Good luck. Goodbye. I hope you have a great day. And for those of you who have been watching us on a live recording through the streaming services, thank you very much for being with us today. If you are interested in any of the matters we discussed, please contact me, peter@essbiztools.com.au, or telephone 0747241118. Have a great day. Goodbye.